Now, of all the places in Norwich Crown Court that you probably don't want to be, it's this room. This is the room that you wait in before you go out into the dock, and one can assume that it must be a very lonely walk. You come out here in full view of the court. This is the dock, and as you step out here, you will come across the jury who will be sitting over here, and these are the people who are going to sit in judgment of you. These are students from the University of East Anglia. Barristers will be sitting here, and the recorder and the judge and all such people as that. Of course, most of us get our view of what happens in court from television, from programmes like this.
This application is about bias. The court cannot be concerned with the substantive issues in the case judged by Mr. Justice Niven.
Without proper understanding of the issues in the original case, we can't assess the impact of the bias alleged in the review.
No, my lord, that's exactly what you cannot do.
I certainly can, Sir Peter.
So how realistic is that? Judge John Deed, is he much like you?
No, it's completely off the wall, and no judge who behaved like Judge John Deed would be in the job for very long. But at least one should commend him in one respect. He does try to do justice, and contrary to what some people seem to believe, those of us who sit in this position do desperately try to do justice by all parties who appear in front of us and balance all the conflicting interests, even if sometimes people feel we get it wrong.
Right, let's talk to a couple of barristers now. We've got Stephen Spence and Catherine Moore. First of all, I mean, you've got your wig in front of you. Do you think it's a good thing that you wear wigs, or a bad thing?
I think it's probably a good thing, because it's what the public expect, and it's a uniform, and it lends some formality to the proceedings. I mean, of some interest these days when we deal with child witnesses, we are very often encouraged to go and see them beforehand, and we have to ask them, do they want us to be robed, or do they want us to take our wigs and gowns off? And I think in most barristers' experience, in my experience, I've only ever had one child say they want it off. They come here and they expect it.
Catherine, you don't think it makes you seem aloof and distant?
It may do, and it's also not really very comfortable, but we have to wear it, it's the rule.
What is the state of the law? Is it we've got all of these people who are studying the law here. Is it a good career to go into?
The Bar Council tell us that it's a very challenging profession, and an exciting one at that, and anyone who is interested can find plenty of information about it on the Bar Council website.
But it's about 1 in 3 who train to be barristers who actually get a position, is that right?
Something like that.
And it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Can we take a question? Anybody here got a question about yes?
Traditionally, the legal system sort of as a whole has the image of being something that's mainly for upper-class males in particular. Would you say that the profession has opened up, particularly to people from lower-income backgrounds, especially when you take into consideration uni
Let's get
fees?
an answer. Yeah, that's a very good question. Who's going to take that?
No, it hasn't. Yeah, realistically, it has. I mean, I came from a Welsh comprehensive school, normal university, normal background, no legal people in my family. Nobody had any contact with the law, apart from a distant cousin, my father, who had a bit of a problem with his accounts. But apart from that, no, it's really opened up these days, and it's a meritocracy rather than the old image of the upper-class twit.
OK. But it is hard to raise the money, isn't it? Anybody else got a question along here? Yes?
Slightly different. Given that we've just let a camera loose in the courtroom, what's your view on televising court proceedings today?
That's a very good question. Who wants to take that? Catherine?
Well, I haven't really thought about it. I know that lots of people have given it thought and decided that at the moment it's contrary to the interests of justice, that certain things are better not televised, and as it stands, that's the way it's going to remain, I think, for the foreseeable future.
Just a quick show of hands. How many of you want to be barristers and how many want to be solicitors? Barristers first? All barristers, and then I've got 3 or 4 solicitors over on this side, and it's about the same on the other side. Now, we asked you for your opinions on a couple of things. Let's find out what you've been saying. Here's Mike.
Thanks, Stuart. Yes, I'm sitting where the clerk normally sits. We've had a lot of calls and emails. Thank you very much indeed. As usual, we haven't got time to read them all out, but Greg from Bishop Stortford phoned to say he's been in court 5 times in a harassment case. He says the judicial system is a load of rubbish. He was treated as a criminal but was never found guilty. Hugh in Cambridgeshire, he deals with prisoners. He works for the prison service. He says more and more illegal immigrants are being jailed for possessing forged documents. Why put them in prison at the taxpayer's expense? And perhaps just one more. Paul from Peterborough. I've been to prison many times in my youth. I came to the conclusion that many of the reasons are social ones. Many offenders need help with jobs, housing and a multitude of other issues. All this contributes to crime if left unchecked. And in my case, I was woefully neglected. I'm 52 now and feel the youth of today experience much the same things as I did. Thank you very much indeed for all your calls and emails, Stuart. How's it going?
Some very interesting discussion points there. Let's get the weather, shall we? Julie's here in the witness box.
I am, and Stuart, it says in front of me, I shall give the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. But this is a forecast, so I hope I'm granted a little leeway. I'm looking at the judge, he's smiling. I think that's a good sign. Now, let's start with some pictures, shall we, of Northampton on the 28th of October 2008. So this is what we had in Northamptonshire this time last year. Snow falling at 5 o'clock in the evening, but a very different picture today. Yes, we didn't have much sunshine, but it has been incredibly mild. Temperatures as high as 18 degrees Celsius, that's 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if we bring on the tonight chart, I think we're going to hold on to an awful lot of cloud, perhaps a little bit of drizzle, but largely dry. And it now looks like the mist and fog may form quite widely, so some pretty awful driving conditions overnight tonight. Now, temperatures, nothing lower than about 8 or 9 degrees Celsius, and I have a feeling that many of us will stay a degree or so higher than that, and the wind's becoming light and variable. Now, the pressure chart for tomorrow shows low pressure to the west on those weather fronts. Scandinavia, well, the centre of the high is there, and that high actually extends right down from the north over the top of us. It's a fairly flabby area of high pressure, and it's going to have quite a lot of cloud caught up in it. So if we bring on the chart for tomorrow, the mist and fog will probably take a little while to clear because we're going to hardly have any wind at all. But eventually it should go, and then we're left with an awful lot of cloud, but hopefully a little bit of sunshine and brightness. But I don't think that will be for everybody. Now, temperatures tomorrow, around 16 Celsius at best. That's 61 degrees Fahrenheit. That's still above the average 13 degrees Celsius, but of course not quite as mild as today. And the winds, well, I think tomorrow, again, very light between the southwest and the southeast. Now the 5-day forecast. We've talked about Thursday. Friday, those southeasterly winds pick up a bit, and that should help to break the cloud up. So Saturday. Now Saturday, that cloud may produce a little bit of light and patchy rain first thing, but the bulk of the day will be dry, but rather cloudy. But light winds, but that looks like it will change on Sunday. A very blustery day with the potential for some quite heavy rainfall. So not a pleasant day on Sunday, but I think all that should be out of the way come the new week. Monday's looking fine and dry at the moment with some decent sunny spells, although by then temperatures actually coming back much closer to normal, if not a little bit below. As for the overnight lows, well, there they are. And as you can see, we hold on to mild nights too. The average should be around 5.5 degrees. That's your forecast. Stuart.
Julie, thank you very much indeed. And that's it from Court 4 at Norwich Crown Court. Of course, most people never set foot inside a court. Those that do are very often on the jury or covering it for the press. But if you want to avoid standing here in the dock, there is one answer. Don't break the law. From all of us here, good night.
Ahead of his new role in tonight's news.